Canvas course site, within the modules, we have the assignment project instructions. Scroll down, you'll find the instructions for the flyouts, strikeouts, and hits. You can put that up, and there's also a zip file of the assets as far as the graphics and the fonts that are used. Here is the assignment instructions. So this project provides hands-on practice with Shell Flyout navigation and uses a singleton style class. It's not a true singleton of showing data across pages of the app. At least that's my solution. You don't have to use that external class, but it'll be a good lead-in as we start to transition to a discussion on models, view, and view models. The project consists of 10 pages with a flyout menu to navigate to those various pages. Each page will discuss how to keep score for a certain situation within a given category. Here's the tip, which I created an info.cs class and put all the text from the Word documents provided from our subject matter expert for the title and the information on each of the pages, and then how to access that class data from our various pages. Here's the project running in the Android emulator. We have our front page on keeping score. The text that is in this label is coming from a data model called info.cs. We can go to scorebook. Player positions. This shows how we number players for easy scorekeeping. Then we have hits. Single, double, triple, home run, how those are recorded in the scorebook. Outs for a fly out, a ground out, a double play, a pop-up. Strikeouts. Strikeout swinging and strikeout called. And we can also keep track of the number of balls and strikes prior to striking out. Walks and hit by pitch, how those are recorded. Runs and RBIs. And along with that then is base running, stolen bases, wild pitch, passed ball, advancing on bases. And then finally our fielder's choice, errors, and sacrifice flies and sacrifice bunts. So that's the project. Try doing this on your own, and if you have struggles, come back and watch my code review. In Visual Studio 2022, I added in the images for each of the scorekeeping and the fielders and the title and the scorecard all into our images folder. I also added fonts of Arial, Arial Black, Arial Bold, and Arial Narrow. I think I only used the Arial and Arial Bold if I recall. And then I created a folder for models and added in a new C# class called info.cs. I'm going to jump over there. It's not a true singleton class in that a singleton class restricts the ability to create more than one instance. I didn't do that here, but we're going to use it as a singleton and create just one instance. And we'll create that instance in our app shell.xaml.cs. I created some public string variables for main title and main info. And this is the text that came out of the Word document that was shared in the assets folder. I went ahead and just kind of broke up the info into multiple lines. So it's concatenated just so it's easier to read in one place. Do the same thing for scorecard title, scorecard info, positions title, positions info, hits title, hits info. And then on each of the scorekeeping pages, we also have a details, which discusses the 4 different innings that are displayed and what they represent. So that's the hits. There's the outs, the strikeouts, title, info, details, walks, runs, base running, and fielder's choice. I just abbreviated as FC. My constructor is just an empty constructor. I use the main page for our first page, and vertical stack layout, spacing 15, margin of 20. Vertical options are start. Has the image of title 600_400x.png. I set the aspect to fit and the horizontal options to fill. And then below that, I added a label for the title. And right now I just have text equals title, and for the LBL info, text equals info, we're going to populate those in the C#. And I used a font family of Arial, Bold, and Arial, and set the text color to green for the title. I also used a box view at the bottom here to force everything to the top. I had some problems on the iOS side. Shouldn't be necessary with the vertical options of start for the vertical stack. For our main page.xaml.cs, I'm accessing LBL title.text and setting it equal to appshell.info main title, and the LBL info text setting it to appshell.info.maininfo. Let's jump over to the app shell. In the app shell, I set up a background color of forest green. That's going to be our header, and then the flyout background is green. Those two are pretty similar. Created a data template for the shell. So I'm going to populate the flyout items using a data template, which is going to be bound to all the titles of our flyout menus. And I didn't use any icons, just one of the titles. Set that up in a grid. Flyout header, I set that to a image called menu header.png, aspect fit, and horizontal options fill. In the footer, I put in the copyright and design information at the bottom. Flyout menus then are for going to each of the pages. We have keeping score with the title, the local main page, and then a route of main page. And then I added a whole bunch of pages. So over here, I added a base running page, a fielder's choice page, a hits page, an outs page, positions page, runs RBI page, scorebook, strikeouts page, and a walks page. And all those were added as XAML content with a C# code behind. The flyouts simply utilize those added pages with the appropriate titles for the flyout, the title for the page, and then referencing the local XAML content page and creating a routing that corresponds. And I did that for all of those different pages. Like I said, there should be 10, I think, total. And then it uses that data to populate the flyout. So it's going to use the flyout item title to populate the names in that flyout menu. In the code behind for the app shell, I referenced the using flyouts and hits model so I can access that info.cs, and then I set a public static variable of type info, named it lowercase info equals new info. And I'm using that as a singleton. Again, it's not a true singleton, but it's going to be our only instance. And that allows us then to access that data from the info.cs on all the other pages, as you already saw on the main page, XAML.cs. We have to specify the app shell, the class that it's coming from, .info.maininfo.cs. So then on the other pages, I'll do the scorebook next. Kind of the same thing. We do a vertical stack layout and then an embedded vertical stack layout. I want the title and the caption to be right next to each other, and then the image below that. So I have LBL title, again, we're saying the text to title, LBL info, so the text to info. You can see the fonts and colors and sizes I use there. And then outside the vertical stack layout, I added an image. There's going to be a little bit of spacing, 15 pixels between this vertical stack layout and the image. And the image is a picture of a scorecard. It's all set in a scroll view in case it doesn't fit on the page. The user can scroll it. I set the width request to 350 and an aspect of fit for the image. The code behind then for that, once again, accessing LBL title.text equals appshell info.scorecard title, and the info.text is appshell.info scorecard info. By the way, you do not need this using flyouts and hits and models. We're not referencing it directly, so you could actually eliminate that since we're specifying it's coming from this app shell. Positions page. Here I have the image at the top, and then the title and the info labels inside a vertical stack layout below that image. So again, a little bit of spacing between the image and the title and info label, but those two will be right next to each other vertically. And then the positions page, same thing. appshell.info.positions title, appshell.info.positions info, setting the LBL title and LBL info text properties respectively. Hits page. So the remaining pages will all have the same type of XAML layout with the vertical stack layout of the title and the info together in a vertical stack layout, and then the image, and then another label below that which will be the details. So here I just set the text to title, info, and scoring, and we're going to change all those in the C# code behind. Title is forest green, the others are black. We're not specified, and I'm using Arial and Arial bold. That's going to be the same on all the remaining pages for outs, strikeouts, base running, and so forth. All I'm changing is the image source that's being displayed. And then the code behind for all those pages, we're setting the LBL title.text property, the LBL info text property, and the LBL details text property to the appshell.info and the various variables that we want to display. There's the base running XAML, the base running code behind, the fielder's choice XAML, the fielder's choice code behind, the outs XAML, the outs code behind, the runs and RBI page XAML, its code behind, the strikeout XAML, code behind, and then finally the walks page XAML and its code behind. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the .NET MAUI Practicum playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos I create, you can click my picture in the top right to subscribe to the channel.